Yes, this is your favorite show, Sports Unfolded, with your favorite hosts, Eric and Ron.
I don't know. That had a little jump to it. I think maybe because it's an exciting show for us. Season 3, episode 2, but even more so, Ron, episode 100. We are there. We've made it. 100 episodes of Sports Unfolded tonight. So excited.
Ready for syndication, Eric.
Yes, I
So
think we
any
are.
of those networks that want to sign us on for the syndication, just let
We
us
will
know.
gladly take it. Yes. So season 3, episode 2, Centurions. So excited about tonight. So much to cover in the sports world. Hopefully, we'll be joined by our special guest, trying to get those connection issues resolved. So we will work on that as well. But we're going to start off with our leadoff story, Ron, and that's some coaching firings that have happened in the NFL. We always call it the Black Monday. I guess they don't like that term anymore, but we'll still call it that because we're a little edgy. So, 5 coaches have been fired so far this season. Some more recently than others. Obviously, Cliff Kingsbury, the Arizona Cardinals, have terminated his contract after 4 years, 28, 37, and 1. Never won a playoff game, only went once. He was 0-1, 4-13 this season. So, your thoughts, first of all, I would say on Cliff Kingsbury and the firing in Arizona.
Well, I mean, for 4 years, he really didn't do much of anything. I know this season there was a lot of injuries and a lot of problems. But even when you looked on those sidelines, there was definitely no cohesiveness between him and the players, especially Kyler Murray. And that spelled doom for him. I mean, there was no way he was going to survive this. There was no
Yeah,
way.
I just think poor organizations, though, we think about it, they extended his contract, extended Kyler Murray's contract, a lot of wasted money. It doesn't make sense that, again, Kyler Murray injures himself midway through the season. So what was expected of the team at that point as well? A
Yep.
lot of bad decisions. Now they're talking about trading D-Hop, DeAndre Hopkins in the offseason. So a lot of transition in Arizona. Kind of
Yeah.
curious as to where they're going to go.
Yeah, and it's like, after the midway point when Murray did get hurt, I mean, they were already playing poor anyway.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
it wasn't because of the injury that they don't make the playoffs. It was because they stunk. That's why they didn't make the playoffs. And it's too bad because they had a lot of talent on this team. So it makes you wonder really where is the problem. Um, I don't know. First of all, I'm not sold on Kyler Murray. I would never have paid him that much money, and especially a guaranteed contract. I don't think he was worth it. He didn't do anything to warrant that. And
Yeah.
frankly, I think this team has to start all over.
Yeah, I think it's a complete rebuild at this point. What about Lovie Smith? Houston Texans, 1 year, went 3-13-1.
This is the organization.
Yeah, this one made me happier more than any other that he stuck it to that organization in the last game. Because if they had lost that game, they get the number 1 pick in the NFL draft.
Yep.
And he was like, we're playing to win. They go for 2, they get the win, and the organization fires him the next day. Okay,
well,
good.
Yeah, because they were going to fire him anyway because
regardless,
that wasn't who they wanted. They, when all of the stuff came out, with Miami and all of those issues, they really had no choice but to hire, a black coach, and that's not who they really wanted. And, now they have egg on their face because, Lovie Smith actually kind of probably knew that was going to happen. And he stuck it to him, like you said. He stuck it to him, and I'm glad he did. I think the Houston organization just stinks from top to bottom. I don't like the way they do business. I don't like the way they handle anything in their organization, the players, anything.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think, look, no, there's not going to be many coaches that are looking to take that job. I know a lot of guys want a job and would love to have an NFL job, but you can't go into that organization, feel comfortable knowing that they are just a mess from top to bottom.
Oh, it's
There isn't
terrible.
much that you can do to even, hope that they are anytime soon. What about Nathaniel Hackett? So obviously that was a while ago with the Denver Broncos. He went 4-11. He had his 1 year.
You know, he just was terrible. That might be the worst coaching job I've ever seen in the history of the NFL.
Yeah, no, I agree. Look, it's pretty ugly to think about that he could ruin an organization that fast.
Yeah,
So,
no, it was pretty bad.
but
You know,
it's go ahead.
it's like when you bring on, first of all, when you have one of the best defenses in the league, and when you realize, oh my God, we're just a quarterback away, let's make the move, let's go get us a quarterback, and we'll be in the playoffs, and everything will be all happy. We'll win some playoff games, and possibly even contend for the Super Bowl. Well, that was far from really what happened, and I just think that was just a stupid move by Denver to hire him when if you knew you were one quarterback away from potentially winning a Super Bowl, at least contending for it, and
Keep the
rightfully
same
so,
coach.
the thinking was right.
Yeah, keep the
But
same coach from last
yeah,
season.
exactly.
Why
I,
make the
I
change and rebuild
this is
everything?
this is between Denver and Las Vegas. Puzzling.
Frank Wright, Indianapolis Colts, 5 years with the team, longest tenured out of these guys, 40-33-1, 3-5-1 before he got the axe this season. If there's a coach that probably was excited about having to go, I'd say it's Frank Wright because this team's a mess.
Yeah.
And again, you think about the ownership and what they've been doing consistently for so many years now. I just feel like we're in a situation where Frank Wright was better off leaving. They were better with Frank Wright than what they did afterwards getting Jeff Saturday, and
Oh,
how that made any
absolutely.
sense.
Yeah. Look, Indianapolis really hasn't done a very good job on their organization as well, and we keep circling back to this same statement year after year after year. It's the same teams over and over again, and we're seeing it
Yeah,
right
look,
before our eyes.
I think if you don't stick with a coach for 3 to 4 years and at least see if he can build that team up and
Yeah,
make it work, then obviously, again, you're going to just continue to do this. You're going to every 2 to 3 years, you're just, circling. It's a circle of life. You're just
yeah,
starting all over again. And how that makes any sense from an NFL organization when you're trying to win, it puzzles me.
and I feel bad for the fans, and I wonder why they stay fans of these teams so many years.
Yeah.
Look, like we're upset that the Patriots haven't done anything in a couple of years.
Right. It's
Right? It's
heartbreaking.
been
Yes.
2 years. Oh, 3 years.
3 years.
Yeah,
Well, 3 years, they really haven't done much.
yeah. Well, we expected that first year.
Yeah.
I avoided that season out. So and like I'm already calling for his head.
Yeah.
It's
No,
like
I
I mean
understand.
this is what we expect perfection here in the New England area.
Yeah.
And we hold all of our teams to a high standard. Now, when those teams, start to stray from that standard, aka the Red Sox, there's hail to pay.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially in New England. We know how New England can be.
Yeah.
But it baffles me. So what about this next coach, Matt Rule? Was 11-27 in the 3 years. Went 1-4 before he got the axe. you think about how quickly he basically destroyed a team. In 3 years, he was able to basically dismantle this team and completely have them have to rehaul it now.
Yeah.
And again, here's another team that has some potential, some talent. It'd be interesting to see what kind of coach they get. I kind of baffled by some of the coaching names that they've mentioned already. One being Gerard Mayo from New England. Again, you need a coach with some experience, I think, at this point. Get a guy. You just did this with Matt Rule. He had no NFL experience as a head coach.
Yeah.
Gerard Mayo, no experience as a head coach.
Right.
What do you
look after you have a complete debacle? You need to put some stability in there, and the only way you're going to have stability, it is somebody that's been there for a while.
And again, Steve Wilkes, who took over for Matt Rule, honestly almost got them to the playoffs. I know as bad as the division was, but they played hard for him. You saw some improvement. Why not ride this guy out for another year or two and see what he does?
Yeah, there's a lot of qualified coaches out there. There's a lot of them. A lot of guys that have been around, a long time, like Jim Caldwell his name has been popping up. And I think that's a good decision. He might not be able to get you to that promised land, but he's going to get you into the picture.
Yeah, no,
and he's going to stabilize things.
I agree 100% on that one. So let's quickly talk about Sean Payton. So Sean Payton has been rumored, obviously, to be a candidate or a front runner for all these different jobs. He is interviewing this Tuesday with Denver.
Yeah.
So I guess my first couple questions: can he fix Russell Wilson? And then how much is Denver really going to have to give up? Because you got to remember, he's still under contract with the New Orleans Saints. So there's going to be compensation if you try to sign him.
Yeah,
and they don't have a lot of first. And they don't have first round picks because they gave them away for Russell Wilson.
And I don't think they can do it. I think it's going to cost you at least a first round pick.
Yeah. So, I mean, they may not have first round picks for the next 5 to 6 years because they're going to have to give up first round draft picks, you know what I mean? 3-4 years down the road.
Yep.
Would you say best candidate available right now?
Yes.
But here would be my question. Let's look at Bill Belichick real quick. Bill Belichick, we consider one of the greatest coaches of all time. But he had Tom Brady. Those coaches that have been very successful had that star quarterback.
Yeah.
Is Russell Wilson good enough to make Sean Payton that guy again like he was with Drew Brees, who was considered one of the best of all time?
I don't know.
And
I'm not sure.
Right? So that's a question that when you sit back, he might be the best candidate. But again, we're all going off the fact that he had Drew Brees in New Orleans.
Right.
He had Drew Brees. Bill Belichick had Tom Brady.
And he only won once.
Yeah, one Super Bowl. And now you look at it, I mean, Bill Belichick, in the last 3 years is a 500 coach. How good is Sean Payton without Drew Brees? Is Russell Wilson comparable? I don't think so. So it's going to be interesting.
The more we talk about quarterbacks and coaches and their links, the more I feel it is the quarterback that wins.
Yeah, the quarterback is the key. You need a great quarterback.
Because when you look through history, how many average quarterbacks really have won Super Bowls? I mean, you think of Dilfer and stuff like that. I mean, there's players out there.
Joe Flacco.
But, yeah, I mean, but it's more along the quarterback because, I mean, we look at all those greats that have won. And to me, it's the quarterback. It's all about the quarterback and who gets lucky enough to get that guy.
Yeah. No, I agree. Ron, I think we're going to try to I think Michael was able to join us, but there's no video. So we're going to try to bring him on.
I think he's got video.
Oh, does he have video now?
Yes.
All right. Excellent.
Yes.
Let's bring him on.
Let's bring him in.
Michael, welcome to Sports Unfolded. How are you?
How you doing, gentlemen? Honored to be on your show.
We're doing very well.
Welcome.
So I'm not going to try to hack your last name. If you could just pronounce your last name for us so we kind of have a better understanding.
Sure. Concesio.
Consasio.
Okay.
Consasio. I was close. I was almost going to say Consasio. So, Michael, we know you have your own podcast. You do a few things, but we wanted to really talk about the basketball aspect. I mean, your love of basketball. You've done a lot. Can you tell the fans out there just a little bit about what you've done in the basketball world and some of your experiences?
Well, I'd be honored to. You know, I've been blessed to have all the friends and the contacts that I've had throughout the course of the years. But going back to when I was about 12 years old, I fell in love with a guy by the name of Wilt Chamberlain. And I ended up going to the New Bedford Public Library and looking up microfilm back then in the day. And that's what got me started in loving the game of basketball. And I compared Bill Russell with Wilt Chamberlain and, all the games that they play against each other. And that was my start. And then, here in New Bedford, Mass, which I know is not too far from y'all, I was able to see for the very first time an NBA ball player. And his name was JoJo White from the Boston Celtics. He came to Buntwood Park, and unfortunately, he had a shot where he would turn his wrist. And that's how I developed my, I guess, awkward jump shot, which went in, but it was kind of strange. And it had a different spin on it. From there, I had a pretty good high school career at Bishop Stang High School, which is not too far from you guys. Then I went on to play at Framingham State College. Played 4 years. I was captain. Happened to play with the individual who led the nation in scoring. His name was Mark Van Valkenburg, and he was one of the very few players out of Division III to get drafted by the NBA, and it happened to be the Boston Celtics.
Oh, wow.
I then went on into the career of officiating, and I've been refereeing for over 40 years. But in that process, again, as I stated about my friends, Eric Brittle, former NBA referee, turned me on to a lot of things that I was unaware of or never had opportunity to go to, like the Rucker, like the Dyckman Park in New York City. Another one of my best friends in the world was David Lato, or is David Lato. We've been friends since we were 12 years old. He went to Northeastern, and I went to Stang. Played with Jim Calhoun, was named captain of Northeastern, and also ended up becoming the assistant coach of Northeastern, where he recruited Reggie Lewis and so many others. And then when Calhoun went to UConn, Dave followed him, and the list goes on and on of the players that he recruited. And again, kind of turned me on to a whole different world. I mean, I ended up going to Ray Allen's house. I got to meet so many great players. It's phenomenal. You know what I mean? And going back a little further, when I was about 15 or 16 years old, the great Nate Archibald came to the projects here in New Bedford, the United Front Homes. And through the Boston Celtics affiliation, he came and did a basketball clinic. Got the opportunity to play against Nate Archibald.
Oh, wow.
And scored against him.
And scored. All right. That's important.
Hey, only one basket, though.
Hey,
and then
one's better than zero.
And here, where I think, I've been on a few shows, and a lot of people become interested in this part. In 1976, I was a high school sophomore at New Bedford High School, and I heard there was this guy coming to New Bedford High School, and his name was Dr. J. So we go there, place is packed, 5,000 people or more, and Dr. J comes out. I'll never forget, gray sweats, Converse sneakers, gray top. And anyway, this is what he did. He came out. I'll never forget this, man. I'll never forget as long as I live. He came out. He asked everybody to clap their hands at first, and then he went and did fundamentals. Now here's where he did stressed fundamentals, and the things that he did. The crowd was like, we want to see dunks, we want to see this, we want. And he said, look, I may make it look easy, but it took a long time and a lot of effort and a lot of hard work to make it look easy, but it was not easy. And the people were like, let me tell you something about Dr. J. He worked hard at his craft. So what he did was, fellas, he went like this. Check this out. Give me the best leaper in the building. Guy by the name of Gus Hodge, about 6'6", jumped out the gym. You're going to love this story. So shakes his hand. Doctor has his hands were so huge. And he goes, how you doing, Gus? Gus, do me a favor. Touch the net. Gus goes up, touches the net. No problem. He said, Gus, touch the backboard. Gus does it, no problem. He says, Gus, touch the rim. Gus does it, no problem. Then Dr. J goes like this. Gus, touch the nets without bending your knees. Think about this. Without bending your knees. Gus, touch the backboard without bending your knees. Then he went, Gus, touch the rim without bending your knees. And then Doctor proceeded to grab two balls, and he went up, bang, bang, no problem. And then what he did was he said, okay, give me the 5 or 6 best players here in the building. And my friends were like nudging me. Mike, you got to go out there, Mike. You got to go out there. I'm nervous. You got to go out there. You got to go out there. So I proceeded to go out there with 7 of my peers. We were at half court. Dr. J shook all our hands, and the game was 2-2. And I'm keeping it real. The game was 2-2. So the first guy, who happened to be David Lato, he hit 2 jump shots. He's gone. The next guy comes up. He shoots. He's gone. Now it's my turn. I go up. I'm playing him as best I can defensively. And he takes a jump shot. It hits the rim. I grab the rebound. I proceeded to go to the left corner. I then did one of my, what I at that time worked, but not this night. My spin move between the legs behind and did a left hand hook. Didn't go in. Doctor, because we had to clear the ball to the foul line extended. He went and got the ball, foul line extended, took a jump shot. Check this out. Hit the back of the rim. It comes up. I'm directly underneath the basket. And the ball, I see the ball coming in my hands. All I see is a big hand snatching it and does a 360 dunk, and the place goes crazy. And then he went on to play the other 5 guys. And then he went and asked for everybody to come down to the court in a semicircle. And he proceeded to do the most incredible dunks I have ever seen in my life. The only dunk he did not do was the one from half court because there was too many people lined up. He couldn't do it. But he did every imaginable dunk that you could imagine. And, I am so honored to say I at least got the opportunity to play against 2 Hall of Fame players, Nate Archibald and Dr. J. And what transpired after that is because of my association with Dave Lato and Eric Brittle, I got to meet so many players. Again, Jojo White, I met him later on. I ended up meeting Nate Archibald 40 years later, and he still remembered coming to New Bedford High School. He don't remember me, but he remembers coming to New Bedford High School. And, I've been blessed to have the friends that I have and the opportunities that I have been given. And what I do now is when the pandemic started, I was bored, retired from Department of Corrections after 30 years. And, of course, I'm a referee. Been doing that for over 40 years. And I have been blessed to be doing some broadcasting and having the best local basketball shootouts around, by none. We've had NBA ball players, we've had collegiate ball players, we've had the best of the best. I've been able to broadcast their games, UMass Dartmouth. So, I don't really like talking about myself, but I just want to let the viewers know that things can happen. Sometimes, if you're a good person, things can happen. And when the pandemic arose, I was bored to death, and I started looking up on uh, different shows and podcasts. And I came across one of the podcasts, which was named, I don't know if you guys are familiar with it, All Ball Chicago, a guy by the name of Robert Bobby Reed. And on his show, he had Mark Aguirre and so many other, Isaiah Thomas, so many other Chicago players. And he had me on the show. Of course, I was nervous. And that was one of the very first shows I did. And from that, I liked it. I enjoyed it. I don't have much journalism experience or broadcasting experience. Don't claim to. But one thing I will say, the event that I had with Dr. J, I wrote about it. Y'all can look it up. Just look up A Day with Dr. J with Mike Consatio. You will see exactly what transpired during that day. And right now, again, I've done a few shows, and I lucked out with a network, Sports Empire Network, where they let me allow me to do what I do best, which is I want to recognize others. And I've been blessed. Last night, I had the great Reggie Williams from Georgetown, and we talked about Pat Ewing and things of that nature. And I'm going to tell you one thing I do want to emphasize, if I might. I know I talk a lot.
No, that's okay.
If I want to
Hey,
emphasize this,
you're saving my breath, so I appreciate it.
I want to emphasize this, you guys. I claim to be a basketball historian. I claim to be, in in a way, I am. I've been following the game for over 50 years. I know what I know.
Yeah.
I have no problem talking with anybody about the game of basketball because I know. But I got put in my place. And wait till you hear this one, you guys. I had gone to this place called Kilbourne Center here in New Bedford. And I was here with my good friend Chops Turner, who's from Rhode Island. You guys may know who he is. And we walked into this Kilbourne Center trying to establish Chops doing a musical event. And it was a guy from Yukon came in about 6'5". And we met the guy named John Ippolito. And we sat down, we talked. This is what happened. And I kid you not, please believe me. He gets on the phone. He said, "Oh, you know basketball?" I said, "A little bit. I know a little bit." Gets on the phone, gets on. What's going on, number 24? How you doing, my friend? And I'm like, who is he talking to? I have no idea. Would you mind saying hello to my friend Michael Casasio and Chops Turner? The individual says, hello, hello. Still don't know who it is. Hangs up with them. Yo, 24, I'm going to keep in touch with you. I'll be talking to you real soon. After the phone conversation, check this out, yo. After the phone conversation, 10 minutes later, he says, do you know who that was? Nope. The great Sam Jones of the
Awesome.
Boston Celtics. So he said, you want him on your show? What? Gave me the phone number, contacted Sam. It was really through his son because Sam was 88 at the time. And it was through his son, but we hooked it up. And then they said, Mike, he'll come on the show, but you're only going to have about 15 minutes. I said, damn, give me 15 seconds. Anyway, we proceeded to talk about the great Celtics tradition. We talked about his high school career. We talked about his collegiate career. We talked about all the endeavors and all the trials and tribulations they had to go through as being a Boston Celtic in the 60s in Boston.
Yep.
We talked about Bill Russell, who would win a championship, and come home and find his house defecated on. We found out that the African American players could drink on one bubbler, and the white players could drink on a different bubbler. They couldn't eat at the same restaurant. Imagine that. So anyway, me being the historian I think I am, Sam put me in my place. I am no longer a historian. I love the game, but all the things that him and the Celtics had to go through, I was in tears. Anyway, I said the interview would go 15 minutes. It went an hour and 45 minutes.
Oh, wow.
And I remember the date because it was June 10th. My birthday is on June 11th.
Oh,
And
that's my birthday.
Huh?
That's my birthday.
Well, hey, then
All
you
right.
know we good.
There we
Very
go.
next day, boss, the very next day, I get a phone call. Sam Jones wishing me a happy birthday.
Wow.
And he died 3 months later.
Wow.
So
Wow. Incredible story.
I'm still upset about that. But you know, the show I do right now, again, they let me do what I do. I am a big East fanatic, and my mission is to bring about the Big East the way the Big East used to be. Providence
Be nice.
College, Troy
Yeah, it'd be
Brown,
nice to bring it back. Yes, absolutely.
on and on. I had Tony Bruin on my show. I had Reggie Williams on my show last night. I had Mike Jarvis. I had all kind of people. Well, I've had quite a few on my show, and I want to bring out the best of the Big East the way it used to be, and that's my mission. And the network I'm on right now, they allow me to do it, and it's fun. I love the game, and I think I better shut my mouth unless you all have some questions.
Yeah, we just got a few, and I guess one of the things. So you do a lot with coaching, refereeing, well, refereeing and things of that nature.
Mhm.
But I wanted to ask you. I had a debate at work today, and we were debating about when we thought basketball actually started to take off the NBA. And we were talking about the Magic Bird era in the 80s, and then obviously Jordan took it over the top. Would you agree with that statement, or do you think it was more about like back in the 70s in what we saw with those players?
That's a very good question. I like that question, and I got the answer for you. Because if you recall, when Magic Johnson was with the Lakers, when he was his rookie year, and they beat Philadelphia 76ers, I don't know if you guys remember, that game was not televised live. That was on tape delay.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
did I think the NBA rocketed after that? No. I think due to the expansion of, I'm gonna keep it real with you guys. I'm gonna ask you guys a question.
Sure.
Now, when I was growing up, there were only 3 channels: ABC, NBC,
Yep.
and CBS.
Yeah.
Yep.
You did not have all these ESPN and 55,000 channels on watching every college game. So the stars were bigger than life because you never got to see them. Now, I remember seeing Dr. J on the cover of Sports Illustrated when he was in the ABA. Never got to see him. So when I got to see him live, it made a
Yes.
big difference. So what I'm trying to tell you guys is that to answer your question, I think in the 70s, which I followed very closely because Will Chamberlain was my first idol, and then, of course, Dave Bing, and I can go on. You guys can mention the name. I don't know who it was. I'll tell you their number. I'll tell you what college they went to. But that's me. But anyway, to answer your question, I think the rise of the NBA, of course, was started because of the rivalry between Bird and Magic. When then, Magic was at Michigan State and Larry Bird was at Indiana State. I think that created some thing. But then I'm gonna tell you guys something. Do you all remember when Lou Alcindor went against Elvin Hayes in, I forgot what the place they played in, but that was like one of the most viewed NCAA finals of all time, and it was watched by so many. I think it was in the Houston State. To me, that's what got me started because you had Lou Else. Again, these guys were bigger than life because you never got to see them that much. And to be able to see these guys contribute. And if you remember, a lot of rules were put in place because these guys were so dominant. If you remember, you couldn't dunk after Lou Alcindor did what he did. You couldn't dunk. And one of my favorite players of all time, I don't know if you guys remember, was David Thompson. And he played in an era where you could not dunk. He had a 50-inch vertical leap. And unfortunately, you guys, he kind of destroyed Providence College. But anyway, what I want to tell you guys, hey, please let me tell you one thing. Do you know that Marvin Bonds, I think you know who he is, was one of I know I may get heat for this, was one of the most kindest, considerate people I ever met. He was in Detroit at this time, and he came to New Bedford and had the opportunity to meet him because his girlfriend was a sister of a friend of mine, and I got him to meet him at a drinking establishment. I'll be honest. Anyway, we sat down. We talked for about 2-3 hours, and my man never once mentioned about any of his accomplishments. He just talked about the world in general. I mean, Marvin Bonds was like one of the best people I ever met in my life. I know I'm kind of going off track here, but I just wanted to bring out, this is out of Rhode Island. I want to bring out.
No, I appreciate that.
Marvin Bonds was my man. You guys have any other questions?
I have 2 more questions. I don't know if Ron has any, but I definitely have 2 more. And first one would be, there's a lot of talk about the GOAT, greatest of all time. So a big debate, Michael Jordan, LeBron James, but you've had a lot of knowledge, seen a lot of different players. Would you agree with the Michael Jordan statement, LeBron statement, or do you think there should be a different person in that conversation?
Well, you know something? I have my opinion, but matter of fact, within the recent week, Michael Jordan himself said, you can't compare who's the best of all, who the GOAT is. He said, you got to go through different eras.
Yeah.
And I think because he never got to play against a Bill Russell or a Will Chamberlain and vice versa. So to answer you about this GOAT thing, I personally don't like the fact about who is the GOAT. Because let me tell you, all my over 50 years of watching the game and studying the game, each era had their own set of players. And then you can remember the rules. You got to remember the changes that have been made as far as nutrition, as far as working out, all these things. Back then, the players didn't have that. So me being a historian that I am, I'm sorry, I have to go back and think about that. And I think you should compare different eras. How can you deny what Will Chamberlain did? How can you deny what Lou Alcindor did?
Yeah.
How can you deny what Oscar Robinson did? How can you deny all these players who set the standard, whose play and I'm gonna tell you something right now. I'm gonna give you guys an honest answer. I'm gonna go off the track for 1 minute. Do you know what I think was the GOAT? And you guys are gonna be like, what is he talking about? I'm gonna tell you the GOAT right now. Oscar Robinson. And I'm gonna tell you why. Listen to me, and I'm gonna tell you why.
All right.
If it wasn't for Oscar Robinson, there would be no free agency. If it wasn't for Oscar Robinson, there'd be no pension. If it wasn't for Oscar Robinson, the NBA would not be the way it is today. So if you really want to know the truth, that's my GOAT. Because if you notice, if you guys check back about a month ago, they finally established
for the ABA
pension plan for the ABA players who have lost their homes, who have no money, who are hurting financially. And to me, what the Players Association did now to help these players who paved the way for all these Michael Jordans and Magic and Isaiah, all of them. If it wasn't for these guys who paved the way, who had to work 2-3 jobs, you know what I mean? And now these guys are reaping the benefits of making so much money. So to answer your question, of course, Michael Jordan belongs. I mean, of course, easy. But they would not be where they are if it wasn't for Oscar Robinson, Connie Hawkins.
Yeah,
you guys look them up and look what they had to go through.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'll go on for hours now or so.
No. So I just want to thank Michael Semio. He joined, and Kenny for joining tonight. Thank you guys.
Oh, Mike. That's my friend.
Oh, excellent. So the last question I have, we do a segment called Triple Play. And basically what Triple Play is, you decide who you start, bench, and cut. In tonight's episode, once we're done with this interview, we're going to go in and we're going to debate this. So it's a basketball NBA question, and it's about some of the best power forwards of all time, more in our era. But I wanted to kind of know who you would start, bench, and cut from these three individuals. So we got Tim Duncan, Karl Malone, and Kevin Garnett. So you'd have to start one, you'd have to bench one, and you'd have to cut one.
Yeah,
Karl Malone, Kevin Garnett, and who?
Karl Malone, Kevin Garnett, and Tim Duncan.
Yeah.
We don't make these easy for ourselves.
Man, why you all do this to me, man? Wow.
Putting you on the spot.
Oh, man. Wow.
This is what he does to me all the time.
Hey. Oh, wow. Wow. I guess I'm going to go. I keep Tim Duncan. The fact that he was considered the best power forward, and he was known for his mechanics and stuff like that, and won all the championships. So if we're going to take that into consideration, I got to give Tim Duncan. Kevin Garnett only won one.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, he came out of Chicago. You guys don't even probably know that. He came out of Chicago and was known for winning a lot of the times. And then went from there to high school, to the NBA, and ended up going to a terrible team, as we know.
Yeah.
And never had an opportunity to win. So I can't go with Kevin Garnett only because of the fact that he has not through any fault of his own, he's not really won anything like a Tim Duncan. So my guess would be Tim Duncan. Karl Malone, I think he still is one of the top 10 scorers in the NBA history, if I'm correct. I think he's top 10, top 15.
I believe he still is, yes.
Tremendous player. And you know what I place as importance? Karl Malone never switched teams. He was with Utah from day one.
Wow, he went to the Lakers.
So I'm going to go with...
He went to the Lakers, though. Don't forget that little stint with the Lakers with Kobe, Shaq, and him, and who was the point guard?
You got me.
And Peyton, right? Gary Payton.
Yeah, right.
All right.
You got a good point there, though.
It's tough. It's a tough call.
And 1 year. He played 1 year.
Yes.
Gary Payton. We can go on and on.
Yeah.
But the majority of their career with one team.
Yeah, it was a team. Yes, agreed.
But yeah, I would go with Karl Malone
as your bench
and Tim Duncan.
All right. Excellent. Mike, before we let you go, Ron, did you have any questions?
Nope, you actually asked the question that I wanted to ask.
Excellent. So, Mike, before we let you go, if you want to let people out there know how, if they wanted to check out your show, The Con Man, right? The Sports Corner with The Con Man, how can they do that?
Well, gentlemen, all you have to do is real easy. You just have to download the Sports Empire Network, Sports Corner with The Con Man, Thursday evenings at 8 p.m. And we have what I believe is one of the best shows, not so much because of me, but because of the guests I have. And because I'm like you guys, I ask the tough questions. So I think it's very interesting. And we have up and coming Earl the Pearl Monroe.
Wow.
Oh,
nice.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
Oh, yes. We have Earl the Pearl Monroe. We're going to have Nate Archibald, and we're going to have a few other players as well, former players. And again, I want to thank you guys for having me on the show. I also want to thank my friends and the contacts that I have to enable me to do my show. I am nowhere good as you guys,
No,
but I'm learning and I'm trying, and I realize that, and I'm going to get better.
Yeah, but see, the guests won't come on because of me, because I'm always blasting somebody.
Yeah,
so.
he's the main guy.
So I'm
He's the
glad
main
you
guy.
ain't blasting me yet.
Yeah,
I might
yeah.
be next. But anyway, I want to thank you guys for having me on the show, and I appreciate that. And anything or anytime you guys need a guest that maybe I could have come on your show, or anything I could do for you guys, that's my mission, is to help others. And hopefully I can, through my shows, let people see a different side of the NBA and different players, because
Absolutely.
you see a player or players on TV, but you don't know they're human beings just like us. They go
Absolutely.
through the same things just like us, and a lot of them are just like us.
No, appreciate that. Mike, I appreciate you joining us tonight. You've been great. Appreciate all the basketball insight that you've had throughout your years. It's amazing. Continue good luck with your show. And at some point you need Sports Unfolded, we'll jump on yours as well. Let us know anytime.
You better believe that. Thank you,
All right.
guys. I'll have you on my show very soon.
All right. Excellent. Excellent. Michael, you take care. Thank you again.
Thank you so much,
Mike.
guys. Have a great night.
You too.
too.
Thank you. What a great interview. I mean, talk about some basketball knowledge, man. New Bedford in the house, Kenny. That's right, man. I mean, it was just bringing you back all those old school basketball players. That story about Dr. J.
That's
what
awesome.
a great story, man.
That's awesome.
So,
and that doesn't happen, too often for people anymore. It's like there's more of a disconnect because of basically a lot of fan behavior, to be honest with you.
Yeah, social media, man. It's right. I mean, how they attack people in a different way. And he talked about, back in the past and some of those, with the desegregation and how horrible that was. But you get the same sense even with today's, attacks on people. It's as easy as, hey, we'll throw up a tweet, we'll throw up a you know what I mean, a post, and they don't think about how those players feel. So I thought I liked that. So that was great.
And that's something that we always talk about, especially in our final thoughts. It's like,
hence why you don't get Christmas cards.
We go through this all the, that's why I don't get Christmas cards.
Because you're one of those guys.
No, I'm not one of those
you're not
guys.
as bad.
I'm not one of those guys.
You're
but, when an athlete does something wrong, I'm going to point it out.
Absolutely.
But I'm also going to point out when fans do something wrong. And, and frankly, fans are kind of cruel.
They can be. So back to our regularly scheduled program. I do want to thank Michael again. Great interview, host of the Sports Corner. Check him out, man. He's got some really cool guests. So outstanding. But we're moving on back to the NFL, and we're going to talk about Derek Carr, who's no longer plans to be a Raider. Sent his final goodbyes to the fans of Vegas.
Yeah.
Do you think this is the right choice by the team?
By the team, no.
Okay.
By Derek Carr, yes.
Yeah, I mean,
look, the team has totally screwed everything up. My thoughts.
But they have the coach that you love.
Look, when you get to the playoffs with a guy that comes in and cleans up
did a great
mess.
He did a great job, Versace.
He did a great job.
And you talk about the season they had that year.
Getting rid of him.
Think about the season they had that year with John Gruden getting fired. The wide receiver there, I don't even want to remember his name because it wasn't important, but he, with the car accident.
Right.
And he was able to bring that team back and win.
Exactly.
I think it was 6 games in a row.
How do you get rid of a coach like that?
Horrible.
He saved your season. And now it's a complete disaster. And frankly, they reap what they sow. Yeah. So I'm expecting not to get a Christmas card from the Raiders this year.
The whole organization.
The whole organization, and including their head coach, was just horrible. He's horrible. I'm sorry. Horrible.
9 seasons with the Raiders. He got drafted in 2014. He holds the all-time records for passing yards, for touchdowns, the most sacks, fourth quarter comebacks, most game-winning drives, and most starts in franchise history.
Yeah.
So he's been around. And think about this fact, Ron, before we move on to our next story. 5 coaches in 9 years.
Yeah.
How successful can you be when every couple years, if not every year, your system was changing and it was a
Right.
different.
Yep.
So they'll trade him. Officially can't, go through until March 15th, but it'll be really interesting to see where
Yeah.
he goes because there's a lot of teams out there. New York Jets have already said they're looking for a quarterback. They're one piece away. I don't know if I believe that piece from their ownership, but they may feel Derek Carr might be that guy.
They might, and I think that would be a great improvement for them. And you look at that young talent with another year experience, that team's going to be pretty good.
Yeah. I wouldn't even be. Listen, San Francisco.
Oh, believe me,
put
nothing's
him
off the
on
table at
San
this
Fran-
point.
right? You put him on San Francisco. I think that they're, again, a championship team.
I mean, when you look at the candidates that could be moving around, there's some pieces, that are in that quarterback position that are going to be moving around, and he is one of those at the top of
Yeah.
that list. And you're looking at maybe possibly Jackson from Baltimore.
Lamar Jackson, I think, is a definite.
Yeah,
I would put money on that one.
Yeah,
That is a great call.
Baker Mayfield is one of those, and Tom Brady may be one of those.
Sarah, thanks for joining.
So there's going to be some quarterbacks that are going to be moving, and we all know this.
It's going to be so much fun this offseason. We are going to have so much to talk about. Just when you think we're going to be bored, we're never going to be bored.
No, we're never going to be bored.
Never.
Not happening.
So, before we start talking about this, because I know how excited you are to bring this team up again, I mean, Josh McDaniels gone from New England. We saw the job he did with the Raiders. But we're going to talk about now the coaching staff that's on the New England Patriots. And we'll bring up the picture of some of those coaches. And a lot of changes supposedly going to happen in Foxborough. That's been the word coming out. They are actively looking for an offensive coordinator at this point. They have already said they are going to try to sign Gerard Mayo long-term to keep him with the team because there's several teams that are looking to actually sign him. Cleveland as a defensive coordinator. Carolina wants to interview him as a head coach. What do you think needs to happen for this team to be successful next season? Bill Belichick coming back for his 24th season with the team. If I tell you, obviously, offensively would be the easy answer. But a couple of names that have been thrown out there. Bill O'Brien, Cliff Kingsbury, Frank Reich as possible candidates for offensive coordinator. If you had your choice of those three, which direction you go in as a New England Patriot?
I'd probably go Bill O'Brien over the other two because I don't like the history of the other two. Look, I'm going off of the two head coaching positions of the other two. I don't like it. And frankly, if Bill O'Brien comes in, he can't do a poor job like he did in Houston because he was running the show over there. He's not going to be running the show here. So he will do as he's told, and running the offense is what he can do.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if they want to bring that style back.
And,
this is where I think, though, like a Kingsbury or but a Kingsbury or Frank Reich, a different approach to offense. They definitely should at least interview these guys and see what they
absolutely.
do.
Because
I don't know if you bring back the same exact system again and now expect Mac Jones to revert back to what they were the first year. And that's where it becomes difficult. This was a move that should have been made last season.
Right.
Well, because the season's over technically, so I'm already considering it last season. But
yeah, but I mean, but it should have been. They should have gone an offensive coordinator. This is look. The ego got in the way.
Yeah.
I placed this season squarely on the shoulders. The fault lies on Bill Belichick.
And he said it, right? He said, blame me for it. We're all blaming you at this point.
Oh, we are.
I don't think there's an individual that's a Patriot fan that sits back and says, you know what? It wasn't all Bill. Maybe Bill.
Because it's not Matt Patricia's fault. It's not his fault.
He should have never been put in that position. So what do you do with Judge and Patricia? Joe Judge has to go to special teams. That has to happen.
Yeah.
He was one of the best special teams.
You put him there. I don't know what the answer is for them, but
do you keep Patricia? Is he on your staff next season?
I don't know. I mean, what are you going to do with him?
And can I ask you this question, Ron? Does Gerard Mayo actually stay with the Patriots if he doesn't get a title? Like, if you don't say, hey, you're the defensive coordinator, we'll sign you long term, but we're going to keep you in limbo. You'll still be the linebacker.
But why is he going to be the defensive coordinator? Don't you already have one?
But they never named one officially.
I know, but it is
We
Belichick
believe.
Jr.
Yes. Yes, we believe. Yes, Steve Belichick.
You know,
I don't know.
so,
I'm just saying.
and this is why you can't keep Patricia and Gerard Mayo to battle it out for a position that doesn't exist. You know what I'm saying? It just doesn't any of it make sense. And there is going to be some issues that are going to arise because of it, because of the lack of titles and what they were hired to do. And now he's going to be in a position where now he has to hire an offense coordinator, and that's going to cause a ripple effect. And some people are going to get their feelings hurt.
Here's another key. I think they're fifth in most money to spend in free agency. So they're going to have to spend some money and get some players. They're going to have to get some playmakers. Because getting an offensive coordinator with the guys you have today, I don't think makes a difference.
You need an offensive line and a receiver.
Right? Absolutely. Absolutely. So people may be thinking, wow, you guys are running really late. No, it's episode 100. I know it says episode 2, but this is a 100 episode. We said, why not? Let's go long. Let's go a couple hours tonight and give the
fans.
We're
going to go 100 minutes.
100 minutes. I love it. So, Ron, great discussion on the Patriots. Let's talk about, though, the actual wild card weekend this Saturday, tomorrow night.
Playoffs.
I know you're super stoked.
Playoffs?
I'm super stoked. I just want to know the games, and we're going to talk about each one really quick. We're not making our predictions till the end of the show, but what you're looking for in each game. So, yeah, very good. Seahawks at 49ers. What are you looking for in that game?
I'm looking to see if the Seahawks can even hang with them.
I am so hurt by you right now. I'm going to tell you why. And this is what the fans are saying. They wanted you to say, my man Geno Smith is going to come out and surprise everybody. You've been hyping up Geno Smith for 18 weeks now.
No, there was
and
only
here was
3
your
weeks.
chance. Here was your chance to go full throttle with that. And you just laid down. Disappointed in you. Geno Smith.
Because San Francisco's too good.
All right, so let me ask you this question. Brock Purdy, first playoff game.
Are you
not looking right? But are you not looking to see, hey, does this kid crap his pants? Like, does he
I don't
just
think he does.
The moment, like, holy cow, I'm in the playoffs. We're 3 games away from the Super Bowl.
I don't think he does. Frankly, I think he's having one of the best rookie seasons, ever.
Yeah, 5 games, 6 game stretch, whatever it is, 6 games, I think it is.
I mean,
that's crazy.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, 6 straight. I think it is. Ron blew it. Denny said, "Ron said
I didn't. No, this is.
You had your shot, Geno Smith. But
no,
right, what about
I don't think it's going to be close.
Okay, no prediction.
No prediction.
Chargers at Jags. It's an interesting matchup. This is an interesting matchup, and I'm going to tell you why, because I think nobody's giving the Jags a chance. If you look at the talent that the Chargers have, they have much more talent, far more talent.
Didn't they get an injury this past week?
Mike Williams, yes, I think he's out. I think he broke something with his back. So, but again, they still have a lot of talent on the Chargers. I think if I was going to say quarterback play, I'd go Herbert before I'd go Lawrence. I like this match. I think it's going to be a fun game. I will say that. I don't think this is going to be one of those games that comes down to the wire. I don't think this is a blowout. Versus the other game, like you said.
This is going to be a defensive struggle.
Yeah,
I think both these defenses are going to be ready.
Yeah,
and I think the offense is going to have some difficulties on both sides.
What about the Dolphins at the Bills?
Oh, come on. Come on.
You don't believe in Skylar Thompson?
No. Oh,
the savior of the Miami Dolphins season. He scored 9 points against the New York Jets to get this team into the playoffs. What a great story.
So, in other words, he didn't score any points.
We can't even.
Scored nothing.
All right, we'll move on from that one. I think we both know where we're going on the predictions with that one. Giants at Vikings.
It's a good one.
right?
Because
The
as
more I
bad
think
as I
about
think the Giants are,
they can beat the Vikings.
yeah, they can beat
They
the Vikings.
They barely beat the Vikings. Barely beat the Giants in the regular season. It was a
I know.
last-second field goal.
Yeah.
The Giants could win this game, and you think about how inconsistent
And
Minnesota is.
Was that at Minnesota?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's so inconsistent. The Vikings all season, nobody believed in it. Listen, we had them in our top 5 rankings for the majority of the season, and then they just kept kind of falling off. All right, they're third. Okay, they're fourth. Okay, they're off the list.
Yeah.
I'd be curious to see. And if the Giants, listen, I'm going to tell you right now, extra motivation. Daniel Jones is about to sign a major deal for about $30 million a year with the Giants. He wins this game, they can start to consider him maybe a piece to help them in the playoffs. I think the Giants, mentally, they're going to try to win this game for Daniel Jones. It's going to be interesting. Ravens at Bengals.
Yeah, again.
Quarterback situation. No Lamar Jackson, to your point.
Yeah.
Don't think Huntley's playing. I don't even know who their third string is.
No, I believe Huntley is playing.
Well, they said he's available, but is okay.
No,
breaking news here at Sports Unfolded.
I was watching him in practice today.
Look at you.
100%.
You flew back for the show.
No, I didn't watch him. Like, I wasn't physically there. I have a feed.
Oh, okay.
I got my camera lessons from Bill Belichick.
Oh boy, let's say it easy. Spygate 3. Here we go. The Spygate 3. Look. The Bengals have something to prove. So I think again, one of the top teams in the AFC. I think the Ravens just too injury prone here this season again, and I think this is once this game ends. If the Ravens do lose, they got to consider what are they doing with Lamar Jackson.
I think this is what I think. I think Lamar Jackson walks. I think Baltimore decides, okay, we're going to invest and we're going to move up to that number 1 spot from the Bears, and we're going to go get a quarterback.
Bryce Young. Could be.
And I think that's what they're going to do. Either
Could
that,
well
they
be.
Trade for Fields.
Yeah. I know.
I'm just saying, I think that's what they do. And I think
go ahead.
This is the end for
Lamar
I think
Jackson.
They're going to start rebuilding.
Wild card weekend, last game. Cowboys at Tampa Bay, the Buccaneers.
This is the one I really want to watch.
Monday night, I mean, the world's going to be watching this one because I think we're all waiting to see the Dallas Cowboys fail again. And if it happens, listen, Mike McCarthy has to go. This is where I think Sean Payton goes.
Yeah.
That makes sense to me. They lose this game in the first round again. And listen, Tom Brady, 7-0 against the Dallas Cowboys in his career. Dallas, their last 8 playoff games are 0-8.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on there where you start to say, look, the stars are all aligning for the Dallas Cowboys to lose this game.
Yeah.
And
mean,
what comes for that? I mean, geez.
When you look at the teams on paper,
Dallas
should be a blowout win, right?
Yeah,
for
absolutely.
Dallas?
Absolutely.
It's not the way it's going to happen,
though.
No, I mean,
I don't think
we
so.
know. Look, eventually the magic does run out, but I don't think it's this week.
and what I would say is this. If you think about the clock management from Mike McCarthy in the past, give Tom Brady, a minute change left in that game, and he can still pull something off. He's proven that. And I think that's where it's going to all lie. Can Mike McCarthy make coaching decisions?
Last year he did it against the Rams. It's just that Stafford did it
a little better.
Last.
Yeah. A little better, my friend. Hey, great NFL discussions, but it's time for
grounded to third.
Oh,
there's one.
There it is.
There's 2.
There it is.
There it is.
It is triple play time, my friend. Michael already was on this and how difficult this is, but we're going to debate who we start, bench, and cut from some of the best power forwards of all time in the NBA. Tim Duncan, Karl Malone, and Kevin Garnett. I am first this week, so I am going to give everybody the right format here, and then Ron will try to follow up with his
I think the right one was already given.
So, exactly. I went Tim Duncan as my starter, Karl Malone as my
dude.
bench, Kevin Garnett. Unfortunately, I cut. And I know Kenny, if he's watching right now, he's upset. But I'm cutting Kevin Garnett.
Wait. Kenny?
A little tissue. You want a tissue, Kenny?
got the
He'll be all
tissues
right.
for you.
He'll be all right. He'll be all right. So you look at the 5 championships for Tim Duncan. I had to, right?
yeah,
That was, he's a winner, 2-time MVP. Karl Malone, a 2-time MVP. So you know how valuable he is as a player. The one, even though he didn't have a championship, Kevin Garnett only 1 MVP, 1 championship. And to Michael's point, he had to go different places to make that happen. Karl Malone, consistent in Utah. You think about how great those Jazz teams were. Even though they got to the finals twice, they faced one of the best players in the history of basketball.
Yeah, one guy got in the way.
Yeah, so that's the way I went. I feel you went the same way.
I did, and for all of those reasons, I mean, when you look at Tim Duncan, I mean, 15 All-Stars, 15
Kenny, so
All
disrespectful,
NBA,
he said. So disrespectful,
15-time All Defense. I mean, that is, I mean, you're getting the 19 points, the 10 boards, and that defense. Rookie of the Year, the only one of the 3 that did win a Rookie of the Year. Finals MVP 3 times, to go along with all those championships on a full hand.
Yes.
I mean, he had to be the choice. He had to be the choice for the starter. And if you're going to get that kind of a defense from Tim Duncan, then you want a guy coming off the bench for scoring, and that has to be Karl the Mailman Malone.
The mailman delivering. I love it. Good job.
And he does deliver. You're talking 4-time All-NBA player as well. I mean, 14 rather. 4-time All-Defensive player, so he still has that defense as well. And when you have two-time MVPs on your team, I mean, how could you not win?
Yeah.
Right? And no slight to Kevin Garnett. I couldn't believe that I was going to be cutting him, but I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's like you have 2 guys that are like
not on Sunday. I would say this though, too. I think he stuck around a little too long, Kevin Garnett, because his numbers started to dip a little bit. If you look at the scoring of these 3, he had the lowest amount of rebounds. His shooting percentage was the worst of the 3. So there was some factors in that. In as great as he was in Boston, again, that Brooklyn Nets. When he was there, I think it was just he hung around a little too long. Him and Pierce.
But he was a 9-time All-NBA player too, so he's not a
slouch. He's no slouch. I mean, worst case scenario, I'd say, listen, stay on the couch, keep your phone near you, because I may call you. I may say, you know what, I need you.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, right now, I got to go with the other 2. No, great.
But
points.
you know what, though? I mean, if I'm building a team and I can only have 2 power forwards, why? I'm going to have 3. Sorry, I'm having 3.
Ron's cutting a small forward or a
I'm
center.
cutting somebody else. Yeah. Somebody else I'm cutting.
Right, for these 3.
Because
these are going to be... I'm going to make these as difficult as possible this year, so just be prepared for that. Season 3 is not going to be a cakewalk now.
No,
all right? Why should it be?
Why
should it be? So we're going to move on to the NBA, and we're going to bring up Ron's second favorite player of all time in any sport. And that's LeBron James. So he's leading the NBA in all-star voting. So your thoughts on what he's accomplishing so far this season? You think about it at 38. He's averaging 29 points, 8.4 rebounds, and 6.8 assists.
It's all right.
His highest, actually, his career average in points and rebounds, he's actually ahead of right now. He's averaging more than he did in his career. A little lower on the assists.
Well, you know why this is, right?
Because they have no other players?
Because he's the only one touching the ball.
There we go.
No, it's no slight on him. It's a slight on the team.
They have
that he helped build, though.
Yeah, right. Anthony Davis hurt again.
This is look. We say it all the time. Davis just needs to go somewhere, go away, because you can't stay healthy. It's not even worth. Just go to the booth right now. Because I mean, what's the point of having this guy on your team? What's the point? What? I mean, what is he there for? To look good in a suit on the sideline?
I don't know how to. I know this is episode 100, and we're really excited today.
I
Are you
know,
defending
already
LeBron James? Are you defending LeBron James right now? This is what it sounds
No.
like. This is what you did.
No.
I don't. It took 100 episodes, but we finally broke you a little bit.
No,
The
because
man
because
he's
I
doing all
want
he
a Christmas
can.
card this year.
So LeBron's received
That's my New
4.8.
Year's resolution is
I
to be
love
a
it.
little nicer to LeBron.
I love it.
And there we
4.8
go.
million
Now it's
votes.
back to normal tomorrow.
4.8 million votes. Number one, Durant at 4.5, Giannis 4.4 million are behind him. The next update will be on the 19th. It'll be interesting. A lot of guys that you would thought, like Tatum, 3.3. Some of these guys are kind of low. Curry actually
Hey, let
hasn't
me
hit
ask
4
you
million.
this. Would you want LeBron James on your team?
It depends on what the piece on. If he's my, I would say that if he's my one guy, like he's my star and I'm building around him. No, if he's a guy I'm adding a piece to, if I was going to add him to Boston right now and say I'm keeping Jaylen Brown, I'm keeping Jason Tatum, but we're adding LeBron James, absolutely, because I think that's what would benefit because he can do so much, but he doesn't need to be the guy. And right now, to your point, he has to be the guy. I don't need him to average 30 in Boston. You get me 15, 8 and 8. I'd take that every day of the week in Boston.
But see, I don't think he can do that.
He probably could.
He has to be the guy.
Yeah, I'd probably say you're right. I wouldn't say you're wrong, but I mean, we'll have to see how this all turns out because again, there'll be the fan voting second round.
And
now.
he's going to play until his son's in the league, right?
Yeah, absolutely. What I would say is this, Kenny, you better get to all your boys in in Boston. Make sure they stop voting Tatum, man. What's going on over there in B-Town? So I can't believe we're going to talk some Major League Baseball, and we're going to talk about this gentleman again because it's official now. I think he's actually put the ink on the paper. Carlos Correa is finally signed with a team. What do you think about his whole free agency adventure? So we're going to play some audio real quick from Carlos Correa and kind of the real brief, the situation that happened.
Their decisions and what some other doctors say. What I can control is prepare my body every single day to compete every single day, to show up every single day, to help my team win. Those are the things that I can control.
So he's saying basically, look, whatever their doctor's opinions were, they were, he doesn't see where they found all this evidence that I think the longevity was the concern. He wasn't going to be able to go 13 or 12 years, which we kind of figured anyway. But 28 days this went on, Ron, before he signed. What do you think? What happened here?
I think Minnesota is probably lucky if they get him for like 2 or 3 more years, to be honest with you.
But what a story. Have you ever seen anything this crazy in free agency in any sport?
It's certainly eye-opening for teams to take a look at this because now this opens up a lot of doorways to teams, down the line. Because I mean, you can't now. We're not going to know the results of this until his career is over.
Correct.
No. But what it does do is when something happens, and these teams like the Mets and the Giants take a look at each other in those general managers meetings, and it's like we were right, or we blew it.
But again, how many of these kids now that are going to come up and they're successful early in their career are going to say, look, I need a 12, 13-year contract now.
Yeah.
Because I'm not waiting until I'm 28, 29, and then you guys are going to pull us, with us. So it's going to be an interest. Listen, Major League Baseball and that players union is the strongest in any sport.
Well, you're looking at it now. I mean, when you think about it, what's going on in baseball with these smaller market teams, like San Diego, getting these guys long contracts, and it looks pretty large and hefty, but 10 years from now, those contracts aren't going to look as hefty.
Yeah.
Compared to some of those players, because now next year we're going to be looking at Shohei, and what he's going to
right? What he's going to command, ridiculous. And then
Like, it's going to
J-Rod,
be, yeah,
right? Those guys are going to set a new market.
absolutely. And
So
so that's what they're worried about. So let's get them signed now, ahead of the curve.
I just
And some of these guys are going to be, still solid players, 10 years from now. But in the case like Carlos Correa, he's going to be pushing 40s. And
Yeah. It's crazy.
I'm not sure. I
So
wouldn't do it.
December 13th, they basically announced the deal. 13 years, $350 million. 12/21 announced the Mets deal. 12 years for $315 million. And then 3 days ago, 6 years, $200 million. So you think about the money he lost as well.
Oh, a lot of money.
And guaranteed money, because baseball, it's all guaranteed.
$150 million.
It's all guaranteed. So it's kind of crazy. So we're going to bring up the next gentleman. And the Dodgers have released Trevor Bauer. Do you feel like he's going to sign with another team? Thinking about all the stories that came out, everything that happened.
Yeah, no, he'll sign with another team. Some team needs pitching, and they're going to go after him and try to get a bargain. I wouldn't surprise if the Red Sox are one of those teams. I wouldn't surprise if the Yankees are one of those teams, or the Mets.
Yeah. Listen, as crazy as it sounds, as a Yankee fan, I would definitely add him to my starting rotation. Listen, he's a top quality pitcher.
Yeah.
And listen, they gave him a 324 game suspension, which got reduced to 194. And I'm not saying the guy's, by no means he needs to go through some therapy and all that, stuff to make sure that he gets himself right, because he definitely has some issues. But what I will say is this: we've seen other guys do as bad, or if not worse, on some occasions, and they get that second chance.
Yeah.
And why wouldn't he get that second chance, based on the fact that, look, he's still a top quality pitcher. He was 8-5 in 2021, 2.59 ERA, 137 strikeouts. He had a complete game. So if you're going to tell me that you wouldn't want that in your rotation, there's something wrong.
Right.
Clearly something wrong there.
Oh, absolutely. And look, I mean, if you can get this guy right, and if he's going to, you got to think that he had to have learned something from all this ordeal.
I would hope so. And if not, look, what kind of contract you sign? You sign something with some stipulations. Look, if something comes up, you get cut automatically. The Dodgers are on the hook for $21 million.
Yeah.
They're going to pay him anyway. So you could probably get him for dirt cheap. You don't need to sign him for a big contract.
I mean, you can sign this guy, hey, you put out these numbers, you put out, this many games, you stay out of trouble, you're going to get 20 million, this year.
The funny thing is, I feel, again, this is episode 100. I think the whole world's changed, because I can remember when we talked about this story when it first broke. This guy was off. Forget a Christmas list. This guy you wanted to put him on the moon or somewhere. You said, get him off the planet. Now look at you. Now look at you. You'd sign him to the Red Sox.
Well,
you would put him on Boston.
The reason being, I mean, look at all the players leaving.
Now it's interesting how it all works out, my friend. I love this show. This has been our best show ever. 100. It took 100 episodes. I'm going to say this is my favorite show of all time. But it is face-off time.
We talk about it all the time. Break a clean face-off win.
We just want a clean face-off win. This is an interesting topic, because this just came up recently. Should fans be ejected for having signs at games that may be questionable? And I know you're rolling your eyes, but I don't know if you've heard this story. So a spectator was escorted from Rupp Arena during the first half of the Kentucky loss to South Carolina on Tuesday night after holding up a sign that said, "Please go to Texas." This is what the sign said: "Please go to Texas," referring to speculation that Wildcats coach John Calipari was being a candidate for the coach of the Longhorns. So they fired their coach. There's rumors that Calipari might go there. Basically, he's upset with, this fan was upset, saying, "Please go to Texas." No vulgarity, no swearing. Guess some fans started to get upset about it. They asked him if he would put the sign down or leave, and he decided to leave. So one of us has to be for them being ejected, and one of us has to be against them being ejected for this. I am first this week, so I will decide that I am against him being ejected.
Of course you are.
He paid money for that ticket. What's the big deal? Do I want to see kids with their shirts off, painted bodies? Like, I don't, but they don't get thrown out. What did this guy say that was so bad? Go to Texas. If you want a rumor, you're in Kentucky, you're one of those storied franchises. Why wouldn't you have just, got rid of all these rumors right off the bat and said, look, I'm staying in Kentucky. This is my home. This is where I belong. But no, Jim Calipari plays the game as good as anybody else. And if it's a better job, he's going to take it. This guy's just saying, go, take off. See you later. I don't need you. That's what you get escorted out for? That's what you're getting banned from the stadium for? That's ridiculous. It should never happen. That guy should get his money back for the ticket, and they should allow him to go to the game and put up a different sign, and it should say even more. You know what? I can't curse because we are family-friendly show. So go ahead. That's my argument. It's stupid.
Okay, having this as a face-off is stupid. The whole thing is stupid because you give it so that way it's one-sided. It's a one-sided argument. There's no argument, for it. Like, how do you justify?
So I win again.
Oh yeah, because you do this all the time. You get these
So
bad.
I gotta hear him again.
Bad arguments.
Clean face-off win.
We talk about it all the time, Brick. A clean face-off.
Clean, bro. I didn't even. I clean. Clean
Because there's
face-off
no
win.
argument. It's not even fair.
How could you not argue it though? You could say, look, he shouldn't put a sign up. It's not fair. It's not right. He hurt the coach's feelings.
Oh God, come on.
You're a warm, sensitive guy on episode 100, Ron. There was your chance to continue it.
No.
You decided not to. You're not going that route.
No.
All right, let's
It's
move
a
on.
Stupid thing. And frankly, if I'm the fan, I'm suing the team.
I would. And the fact that fans around, like, who cares? You got signed. Who cares? Do I need to see how you spell Kentucky? Like, I need to see the giant
things
K.
all over the place and doing all kinds of stuff, and you're going to throw them out for that.
What if I'm offended by a fence? What if when I was younger, I got hit by a fence and I don't like fence, and you got the defense?
Wait, you got hit by a fence?
I was running by the fence, hit me in the face. Maybe I don't
How
like
did
fences.
the fence hit you? You would have to hit the fence.
It came swinging back. It hit me in the face. I don't like fences, and you putting up the defense sign, it offends me. You should be kicked out of the arena. There you go. Problems up. It is NHL time, and we are going to discuss the gentleman we bring up on the screen because I am completely stunned at this one. Evander Kane may return this month from an injury. How impressed are you with this accomplishment? So he had his wrist slit by a skate. It looked like this would be 3 to 4 months before he recovered. He's probably a month and a half ahead of schedule. A, is it important for Edmonton to get him back on the ice? B, what about the mental state with him returning maybe earlier than he's might be ready?
Okay, so if it's healed, it's healed. I mean, great. It's great for Edmonton. Yay. So now they'll score another goal per game, and they'll still give up the same amount and still miss the playoffs because they can't keep anything out of their own end.
When we thought he couldn't be negative again, folks, he brought it back. Good job.
Yeah. No, this team absolutely stinks. You have probably the two most dynamic players in the league right now, but it really doesn't matter because they can't. Their defense is a sieve. Period. It's a sieve.
Oh my goodness, my friend. All right, let's talk about the player.
And on the backside, like that picture, is their defenseman always on the ice on the backside because they don't know how to play. They're terrible.
So, all right, okay. All right, forget the Edmonton Oilers then. Let's talk about Evander Kane. Is this not one of those great stories of a comeback where you thought when this originally happened, we had talked about it, and just the sheer fact of the amount of blood that was coming out and where the cut was, that this was life-threatening. And the fact that he can get back in about 2 months, because this happened on November 1st. You know what I mean? You're talking about 2 months later. That's, I mean, you got to give the guy credit for, listen, he loves hockey. Because I don't think a lot of guys would have got back this soon and said, look, I'm ready to step foot on.
2 months.
Right? And there's not a lot of things, though, that they can do to protect that area. So it could happen again. Who knows? I mean, it's a rare situation, but it could happen again. And he's willing to put himself back out there.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen players getting sliced around the neck area, so
Yeah, it's
I've seen it, and it happens. But I don't think this is a case where he's going to be afraid to play.
okay.
You know what I
No,
mean?
and that's why I'm asking you. You're the hockey guy. You know hockey better than I do.
Yeah,
I don't.
I look. I don't think this stops him at all. It happened, and he's now recovered, and he's fine, and now he's just got to get out there and just now where it could matter is when he takes a shot. Because that's going to be a little sensitive, and it's going to be probably a little painful every time he takes a shot or every time he
Yeah,
gets
right.
a
The wrist. Yeah.
pass. That's gonna have some pain.
Yeah. So if you're the coaching staff for the Edmonton Oilers, do you rush him, like not rush him back, but put him on the ice a lot of time, or time on the ice? You probably think they're going to kind of ease him back in and
No,
see how.
they'll put him in practice, and he'll be skating around, and then
Yeah, which he's
he'll
practicing right now, just no
yeah,
contact.
and then eventually they'll start getting some contact, and he'll be fine. He'll be fine.
Okay, all right.
Um,
No, I appreciate you. You know what I mean?
but I
I
mean,
just thought,
if
I
he
thought this
has
was
the
an interesting story.
defenseman hitting him, it's not really going to hurt much. So
Yeah, I thought it
because
was an
those two,
interesting
that
story.
defense, is just
I thought this was a fun one, just
you know.
based on the fact that
No, I mean
it's a
he'll
great
be.
story to see him come back from that
Yeah, it'll probably
this soon.
take him a little time to get the shot back, and to be comfortable with shooting. But I mean, he's a grinder. He's a tough kid, and he's gonna jump right back into it.
Yeah, we wish him well on his recovery. We'll see how it goes. Ron, it's pick and roll time. And again, these are getting harder and harder, man. I just sometimes when you sit back and you look at the numbers and you start to say, wow, some of these guys and their numbers were great. But episode 2, so you're like, Eric, it's got to have a 2 in it. No, but it's episode 100. So what we decided to do, and there was more pitches than this, but we kind of took the more recent pitches. All these pitchers won at least 100 plus games in both leagues, so the American League and the National League, and we're going to rank them from 5 to 1. And those players are Pedro Martinez, Randy Johnson, Kevin Brown, Nolan Ryan, and Dennis Martinez. I am first this week, so I will start us off, my friend. At number 5, I went Dennis Martinez, 245 and 193, 3.70 ERA, which was the highest out of all 5 of these gentlemen, 399 innings pitched, 2,149 Ks, 4 All-Stars, 1 ERA, 1 championship. I just didn't feel like his numbers warranted to be ahead of some of these other guys. At number 4, I went Kevin Brown. He had the least amount of wins out of these guys, but a better ERA than Dennis Martinez. 211 and 144 in his career, 3.28 ERA, 3,256.1 innings pitched, 2,397 Ks, 6 All-Stars, 2 ERA championships, and a championship as in the World Series. At 3, this is where it got really interesting, and I expect to get a laugh out of you because I know how you get. But at number 3, believe it or not, I went Nolan Ryan. Nolan Ryan, 324 and 292, a 3.19 ERA, 5,386 innings pitched, 5,714 Ks, 8 All-Stars, 2 ERA champs, and 1 championship. But I started to look at what these other guys did, and this is why I put these 2 ahead of him, and I'll explain it. At number 2, Randy Johnson, 303 and 166, a 3.29 ERA, 4,135.1 innings pitched, 4,875 Ks. You say, Eric, those numbers are better than Pedro's, but I will tell you why after. 5 Cy Youngs for Randy Johnson, why I put him ahead of Nolan Ryan. Those 5 Cy Youngs stood out to me as the best pitcher in baseball for five times in a 1 Triple Crown. Nolan Ryan didn't win a Triple Crown. 10 All-Stars, 4 ERAs, 1 championship. Eric, how do you put Pedro Martinez ahead of him? This is why. 219 wins, 100 losses. You say, okay, not that impressive when you talk about wins. 2.93 ERA in his career, the lowest out of the 5. Obviously, less innings pitched. He didn't play as long, but 3,154 Ks, 3 Cy Youngs, 1 Triple Crown, 8 All-Stars. He won the ERA title 5 times, one more than Randy Johnson. That's why I put him ahead of him, because they both had 1 championship. I can't believe I picked a Boston Red Sox. I mean, granted, he was also the Expos, correct? Was his
Yep.
National League team. But I thought Pedro out of these 5 was the best pitcher, and that's how I ranked him.
Okay. I'm going to explain something to you when we
Here
get
we
there.
go. Okay, let's see where we're at.
All right, number 5, I also had Dennis Martinez. Pretty good pitcher. 3.70 though.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm.
Little too close to 4 for me.
Yeah. Number 4, I had Kevin Brown. I thought these 2 choices were so easily, and that is exactly where they should have been.
Yeah.
Kevin Brown, 211 wins, 144 losses, 3.28. Pretty good. Pretty good, especially for that era. Ball was going all over the place then. 72 complete games, 17 shutouts. Still didn't touch, Dennis Martinez.
Yeah.
With his complete games and shutouts, but that was a little different back then. But those 2 guys, right where they're supposed to be, right? Then, it's like I looked at Pedro, Randy Johnson, and Nolan Ryan, and I'm like, okay, depending on the number you look at, they could be on top. I mean, you look at Nolan Ryan, 222 complete games.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. Right?
It is insane. 5,700 strikeouts. Insane, right? What's insane is that 6.6 hits per 9 inning, which is a record.
Nice.
That is the
Look at you
record.
breaking out the stats. That's you know what? You're great.
But
nice job.
Now when you look at those numbers, it says, "Oh, that screams to be number 1."
Number
right?
1. Yeah.
No, not for me. I put him at number 3.
Nolan Ryan.
Nolan Ryan at number 3.
We had him the
Just
same.
like you.
All right.
Yes.
Look at this. All right, my friend. Yes.
The difference is I have Pedro at number 2.
Okay. I could see that. But go ahead, explain it.
And Randy Johnson, of course, is number 1. Now, Randy Johnson has 2 more Cy Youngs.
Yes.
Okay. They both have a Triple Crown. Randy Johnson has 2 more All-Star appearances for 10. He has 1 less ERA title.
Yep.
So 5-4 in favor of Pedro. Like these numbers are like so close when you look at it, and I'm like, okay, well, Randy Johnson has 100 complete games.
Thank you for joining.
100 complete games, 46 for Pedro, 37 shutouts, 17 for Pedro. But I'm looking at that, and I'm like, wait, but Pedro is special, right? So then I said, you know what? Let me do this. Let me break down these 3 great pitchers, and they're all great.
Agreed.
Probably the best 3 pitchers, maybe you can throw Greg Maddux in there with those 3 since, the 60s?
I'm surprised he wasn't on that list. You think about it with the Cubs and then, right?
Yeah, but
Did he ever go?
He stayed with the Cubs
National League. And then
Braves.
Atlanta.
Yeah.
Yes, the National League. That's right.
So I compared the three pitchers' win percentage. I brought out my goalie stats.
You dug deep. I love it.
So this is what made me decide where Ryan was. Pedro, 46% of the games that he played in, he won.
Goalie stats. I love it.
Randy Johnson, 49%.
Better. Yes.
Still close, right?
Yes. Yep.
Nolan Ryan, 37%.
Bang.
Number 3, right there.
There we go.
Boom.
Love it. Love it.
Number 3. So then I said, all right.
100.
Let me take it another step. Let me see what their losing percentage is.
My man, backwards and forwards on this. I love it.
21% for Pedro.
Okay.
27% for Randy Johnson.
Okay. Uh-oh.
That was a little more. That was 6%
So,
off.
You could have
as
went either
opposed
way
to
with these two
3.
guys.
Still could go either way, right?
Yep.
But to me, that made Pedro number 1. 21% is 6% less.
So we had the same list.
We had the
You
same
went number
list.
1. Yes, baby. Yes.
We had the same list.
Yes. I thought you were going to go. You got me for a minute. I was like, he went to Randy. I could see it, though. I could see it. But that
It was
ERA,
hard. It was
2.93. 2.93 ERA.
Yeah, that ERA is just ridiculous.
And I think this is the issue. The numbers are a little deflated for Pedro because he didn't play as long.
Right.
Because you look at the innings pitched. I mean, Randy Johnson, 1,300 more innings. That's a lot.
But I just look back.
No, but I love the way you examined it. That's awesome.
And I remember Pedro Martinez was nursing an injury. He couldn't throw his fastball. He threw for an entire game only his changeup and still won the game easily.
Dude, he was a great pitcher.
He was just filthy. He was filthy.
We talked about, you with Jeter and the respect.
Yeah.
I had that same respect for Pedro because I just thought he was that kind of pitcher. Like, he was a dirty player, let's be honest. I mean, he'd throw at guys, he'd make sure, right? But
I can't, I can't disagree with his methods, though.
But he was a great pitcher.
Because I was the same kind of a pitcher when I played.
Like,
if somebody was trying to show me up, I'm throwing at him.
We know you're dirty. We know how it is. We know, my friend. So I have to apologize before we go into our next segment. I was supposed to wear some attire during this next segment. I promise you that next week it will happen because predictions are up. And we are on to our next season, and you currently are behind Manny. Believe it or not, Manny, 86%. He missed the game, though. He didn't pick one of the games.
Oh, see, that's the problem there.
Yeah. So what I will say is this, though, my friend.
We're gonna those numbers, though.
Yeah, we're gonna have a tight race. It looks like we're gonna have a good year. But we will continue. And again, the challenge will be next year. That one of us has to
get in on this.
So I am going to start us off tonight.
Yeah, let me bring up that predictions graphics. There we go.
And there we go.
Jump in on this. Yeah, everybody that's watching, please jump in.
Get your name on the list. We got some blank spots in there right now. We'd love to get some people on. So January 18th, we've got the Cleveland Cavaliers at the Memphis Grizzlies. Cavs are not good on the road. They have not played well on the road. Thank you, Kenny, for doing our NBA ranking show, and that's how I got those numbers. I'm going Memphis here.
I can't find my pen. I absolutely like Memphis at home.
Do what and how now? So basically, Chakra, what we do is we're going to call out the games, and you just got to pick who you think's going to win those games, and then we just post them up. Kenny went Grizzlies.
Yep.
Ron, who did you go with?
I went with Memphis. They're going to be at home.
As well.
Again, Cleveland, is a different team on the road than they are at home. So you have to go Grizzlies. You have to.
Chakra, if you have a pick, let us know. Cleveland Cavaliers at the Memphis Grizzlies. Ron, on January 19th, you got the Golden State Warriors at the Boston Celtics, a rematch of the finals.
Oh, I think the Celtics are coming in to play this. They're going to be at home. They want this. This is the game that they circled on the schedule, right? I mean, they need to show that they are ready, and the Warriors are going to have Steph. And Chakra went with the Grizzlies. Yeah. So I'm going to go with the Boston Celtics over the that Warrior team.
So, believe it or not, I'm going Warriors, and I'm going to tell you why. Because the last time Boston went to Golden State, we said the same exact thing. It's got to be circled. This is the game. Boston was playing great basketball then. Guess what happened? They lost. Steph Curry back with Golden State Warriors now after that injury. I just feel like the Golden State Warriors right now have something mentally over the Boston Celtics. I'm going Golden State. Chakra, if
Yeah.
you have a guess, go ahead, pick it. NHL action, my friend, on January 14th, the Toronto Maple Leafs at the Boston Bruins.
Well, they just stunk
Stunk up the joint,
Thursday.
the Bruins. And I feel like,
So
oh, wait a minute. It's me. Is it not me? It is
Oh,
me.
yeah.
It's my turn. So, as you said, the Boston Bruins lost their first game in regulation at home against the Seattle Kraken. I love gold. So Golden State, I was going Golden State on that. That's what that means, right?
oh, that
Chakra,
means
Golden
he's
Gold.
going to go with the Bruins because they're black and gold.
No, but he's talking about the Warriors. Gold.
I know, but I'm just saying that would
okay.
if
that's the case, Chakra's got to
goes
go with the
through.
Bruins. Kenny's going Maple Leafs.
You didn't even say who you went with.
I am going Maple Leafs. I think Boston loses a couple straight here.
No. Bruins are going to be ready for this game. They are not. They know they stunk Thursday night.
They've been overachieving, Ron. We got to realize they're going to come back down to earth.
They're not overachieving when they're playing Toronto.
Okay, all right. I think Toronto's my pick in the NHL preview show.
Yeah.
So I gotta start to.
Yeah,
start
I'm
to
going
win
Boston. Boston's
right.
winning this game.
January 16th, you got the Dallas Stars at the Vegas Golden Knights. Europe.
Well, to all my Golden Knights fans out there, that why aren't they in the top 10 and LA is blah 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 blah. You're playing horrible hockey. Like you're losing, half your games every week for the last month. I don't even know how long it's been. So I'm going to go with Dallas Stars. I think the Stars are a better team. They have a better goaltender, and I think they take it on the road.
Kenny's going Stars. You went Stars. Chakra said anytime we get the Kraken in, she's going with they're going with the Kraken. I'm going Knights. I'm going Golden Knights at home.
Oh, you're really trying to catch up, huh?
I got to make a strong push early in the season and then be smart later. All NFL action going forward for the rest of these picks. So obviously this Saturday, we've got the Seattle Seahawks at the San Francisco 49ers. I think this is an easy one. I don't feel like Seattle, your boy Gino, is going to be able to do his magic. I'm going San Francisco in that talented team.
Yeah, I'm also going San Francisco. I don't think this is going to be close. I think there's just way too much talent on that San Francisco defense for any consistency by Geno Smith.
Yeah, I can't see it. Kenny's going Niners. Chakra's got to be Seahawks. Yes, I thought.
Yeah. Chakra's from Seattle,
so that makes sense. We're going also this Saturday. Los Angeles Chargers at the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I am going to go Jacksonville.
Oof.
I think Cinderella is still at the ball.
All right,
and I don't like, what I'm really seeing from the Chargers enough to go on the road.
Okay,
and beat Jacksonville. I think talent-wise, I think it's a push. Maybe a little more for the Chargers, but they're going to be on the road, and they just lost a receiver, and that's going to be a big problem.
So I went Chargers, and I went Chargers for a couple reasons. Joey Bosa's back.
Yep.
Khalil Mack's having a great season. I think defensively they have the firepower to stop the Jags offense. And I think that I'm going Herbert here, and I'm thinking he's going to finally win a playoff game. He needs to. It's time to do this.
I think the Jags defense is going to shut that team down.
All right. Chargers are due. Chakra. All right. What about the Miami Dolphins at the Buffalo Bills? That is on a Sunday. And I gotta put a shout out. My man James, I work with. He said, make sure I mention the Dolphins. He's a Dolphin fan. He's rooting Dolphins all the way.
Poor guy.
And I told him they've got to put up more than 9 points. That's because that's not going to work against Buffalo. But whose guess is this now? Mine, right? I'm going Buffalo. I'm not even going to explain why. I don't think I have to.
I don't think you have to either because I think Miami's going to have to score more than 9 per quarter.
Kenny's going
Kenny's
Fins.
going to Fins. Oh my God!
What is going on here?
With a
Kenny?
third string quarterback.
Oh man, Skylar Thompson. I feel like that's going to be a household name after this game. Not at all. We also have Sunday the New York Giants at the Minnesota Vikings. Is Ace on the case again for the Dolphins? There, Ace Ventura. Yeah, he decided once he found the Dolphin, he was all set. Snowflake was the Dolphin. I remember that. Snowflake. Yes, he found him. He was.
To me, this is the hardest game. This is the hardest game to predict.
I don't know. Is Chakra going with the Dolphins? I feel like we might have another Dolphins pick here. Is that what that question was about? If Ace is on that team, on the case, Chakra's going the Dolphins?
I don't think Ace is on the team.
So Minnesota, Kenny's going Minnesota. We got another one here. Ron, who do you got in this game?
I don't know. I don't
Giants
know.
at the Vikings.
This is a tough one.
It's a very tough one. This is probably the hardest game to pick.
Deep down inside, I think the Giants can win this game.
Bills. Okay.
But I'm gonna go Minnesota. Because the Patriots aren't in the playoffs, so that means the Giants don't make it to the Super Bowl. So
okay, I like your theory there. I'm going Giants. Yeah. Going Giants here. And all those reasons I said, Danny Dimes, he needs this game to get paid. Yeah. This is a big game for him. This is $30 million on the line a year. Yeah. He's going to win this game because he's going to get that contract.
No, I don't know.
That's what
that's a toss-up.
That's the rumor.
Yeah.
Oh, Soda. Chakra.
Minnesota. I like that. Soda.
January 15th as well. Baltimore Ravens at the Cincinnati.
Is this me?
I think yes, it is.
All right. Well, it's Cincinnati. Bengals don't have Lamar Jackson in this game, so Cincinnati takes this. I don't think it's even a question. The Ravens just aren't going to have enough offense to keep up.
I have to agree with you. I can't see Cincinnati losing this game to Baltimore. This is the third time they've played them.
Yeah.
And no Lamar Jackson. That's going to be such a factor in this game. Kenny's going Cincinnati. See if Chakra's got a pick here. Then the big game, my friend.
Yeah, the big game.
The big game. So Monday night, Bengals put in Bengals. Chakra's going Bengals. So January 16th, Monday night, we've got the Dallas Cowboys at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We talked about the records. We talked about Tom Brady 7-0 against the Dallas Cowboys. Does he make it 8-0? He does. Oh, not the Bengals. So they're going Ravens.
Oh, he went. Oh, they got put in a zoo.
Oh, okay.
They got caged, and so the Ravens. Oh, okay.
I like it. So I'm going Tampa Bay. I'm going Tom Brady wins 8 straight against Dallas Cowboys. He goes perfect. Kenny's going Dallas.
Look, Dallas, to me, is, well, first of all, they're all over the place. They don't know what kind of a team they even want to be.
I was going to say, they're in Texas, but okay.
Didn't they lose Pollard as well?
I didn't hear that, but you could be correct. I don't think it would matter, but go ahead.
I don't think it matters either, but, I mean, that's just another weapon that they don't have. Look, I just don't have any faith in their coaching. None whatsoever. And that kind of goes along with Dak Prescott. I'm sorry. He follows suit with his coach. He just doesn't know what to do at crucial moments. And I'm sorry, I just don't see him as a big game player. and I don't see the Cowboys, winning this game, even though on paper everything points to the Dallas Cowboys,
Agreed.
except for one thing: Tom Brady. Tom Brady points, gets the job done. He sees something, he exploits it, and he's going to get the job done. He's going to want Micah to come at him and then expose where he's not.
Yep. Brady, baby. Look at it. Chakra is going. All right, Chakra.
Tampa Bay.
Thank you. Chakra. Now what you got to do each week, you got to make sure you join us Friday night, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But we put up the list about 5 p.m. here. So I think if you're in Seattle, that'd be 2 p.m. But you could see where you rank and see if how many wins you got. And we got 5 and 5 this week, my friend. We have 5 different, 5 the same. So it's an interesting week. I don't think we've ever had that many.
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
Nice. Nice. I like it.
I don't think so either.
Chakra. That's great. So, Kenny, thank you for your picks as well.
Yeah, I hope Manny doesn't disappear.
Yeah, Manny usually gives them to me later on. He watches the show. He
good.
Doesn't have time to watch you right now.
Yeah, because he's at work, right?
Yeah, yep. So he's been making sure he gets his picks to me.
That's awesome.
And we already know he's giving us Dallas as his pick, without a doubt. But Ron, before we go into our final thoughts,
and not the Bruins and Celtics,
and how we end our show, can you let the fans know, because our goal for 2023 is to get a sponsor for our show. How can people sponsor the show?
That is simple, Eric. The first thing that you have to do is say, hey, I want to sponsor this great show that has great talent and great topics, and just email us. That's a simple thing. Email us at ribroadcasting.media@gmail.com. It costs less than going to your favorite donut shop to get your coffee and donut. Costs less than that.
Might be less than a gallon of milk and some eggs right now.
Well, it's definitely less than a dozen of eggs at this point.
So I'll tell you right now. I mean, yeah, it's just getting out of control. Make sure you follow us on all our social media platforms. We've been running that ticker.
And follow Chakra
on
underscore
Twitter.
power
on Twitch. Chakra. Twitch is a great format for us as well. So follow Chakra. Thank you for joining us tonight, Chakra, on that. Kenny, thank you for joining us live. Ron, it's final thoughts time.
Hey, don't forget Michael Semio.
Michael joined us. Want to thank Michael for that great interview tonight.
Yep.
That was so much fun.
And Sarah
joined as well. So great job, Ron. Making sure we get all these people mentioned, because that's what we do here at Sports Unfolded. We love the fans to join us. It makes it so much more
Sarah
entertaining.
and Deputy.
Yeah.
You have to look at the spelling, because the spelling is tough.
Twitch as well.
Twitch as well.
Yeah. So final thoughts. We don't necessarily have to be anything sports related. It can be about anything going on in the world today. I know how much you love it, so I'm going to continue this streak and go for 2. I've got 2.
Stop
it. I've got 2. First one, rest her soul. Lisa Marie Presley has passed away at the age of 54 from an apparent heart attack. Joining her dad in heaven, the great Elvis Presley. Just a sad story, because you think about Priscilla Presley and the fact that I guess she sent out the tweet, but that she's basically outlived both of them, and she's the only one going to really carry on that legacy when it comes to the Presleys. I believe Lisa has some kids, but they're really not in the spotlight like they were, like that whole family, the 3 of them. So it's going to be a tough loss for that whole community that really followed the Presleys. And then my final thought as well, I just wanted to congratulate the Georgia Bulldogs for winning the national championship back-to-back. And I wanted to say great job with TCU not showing up to the game. So, as usual, they've got it wrong. TCU should not have been in the Final Four of the best teams in the National Football League. I know they beat Michigan, but even that game, there were some questionable calls. And Georgia went on and proved that the SEC is still the most dominant, in college football. So, Georgia Bulldogs, congratulations! What they're building there in Georgia. You think about what they've built. So, great job by Georgia and Kirby Smart. Ron, your final thoughts.
So you kind of took my
I knew it.
thunder with Lisa Marie
Lisa
Presley.
Marie Presley.
Because that kind of hits home, you know.
It does.
It kind of hits. There were others that died too, by the way. Adam Rich from Eight Is Enough.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So, if you were old enough to watch Eight Is Enough, then you saw the little kid, Nicholas. So instead of doing the Lisa Marie thing, and rest in peace, so I kind of did. So I guess I have two now.
Aha. Yes.
I decided to go a totally different direction this week. Totally different, right? A couple of weeks ago, we had a pick and roll about the Boston Bruins and those assist leaders, all those guys with the assists. And we had this discussion that, Esposito was a better player than Bobby Orr. Then, you were going to look into those stats for that year.
Yep.
And you never did. So I'm going to give you some of those stats right now.
I was pretty confident in what I picked, but go ahead.
Yeah, you picked wrong, by the way.
Okay. All right.
So that year, 1971-72 season, there were three defensemen that were in the top 50 in points in the league.
Okay.
Number 37 was J.C. Tremblay of the Montreal Canadiens, and he had 6 goals, 51 assists, 57 points. 6 goals. Number 17 was Brad Park. 24 goals, 49 assists, 73 points.
Not bad.
He eventually came over to the Boston Bruins, by the way.
Nice.
There were only 2 other guys that had, 20-plus goals. One guy wasn't on this list. The other guy, Bobby Orr, had 37 goals as a defenseman. 80 assists for 117 points.
Great. I didn't choose his position.
I'm just saying.
Not my fault.
I'm just saying
he did. He had a good year.
He was the best Boston Bruin player ever.
Okay. All right. That's your opinion.
37 goals as a defenseman.
That's your opinion. Great final thought.
He was number 2 in points that year.
Great job bringing it all back. So this has been season 3, episode 2, Centurions of Sports Unfolded. But not only was it episode 2 of season 3, our 100th episode. Ron, this has been an amazing ride. What a great show tonight. I want to thank Michael again for joining us, the con man. What a phenomenal job he's doing over there when it comes to basketball and the sports corner. Check him out as well. So we appreciate him, kind of coming over and just talking some basketball with us. Want to thank everybody that joined us live tonight. You guys have been phenomenal. Thank you for participating. It's been so much fun. Ron, I couldn't do this show without you. It's been a wonderful 100 years, because it feels like years sometimes. 100 episodes.
I was like, wait, what?
Right? It feels like years sometimes. Sometimes when we're doing all these stats and these numbers, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so much of a process. But it's been so much fun. Our 100th episode, and I can't wait to do 100 more. So thank you, my friend. 2023 starting off in the right spot. So cheers, my friend. And we will be.
Here's my Tito's.
Do not. And we will be back next Friday night, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Check us out. All we have asked for each and every week is peace on earth.